Coach Matt Boehner. Once again, raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you.
Hey, Matt, you've had your freshmen in here. I know you've often said through the years, whoever plays is playing hard in practice. But what's it like for you to have these two freshmen come in here and play so well in their first game? I mean, at Mackey, I felt like I was watching Brad Davidson and Ryan Klein play on the floor with those guys. But what's it like for you?
Yeah, well, it's great. Obviously you have, good young players. It's hard to be, good right away, even if someone who's talented and there's just a big learning curve when you first start. So, and they'll have a lot of those moments. There's nobody that escapes that in terms of just those learning moments. And, but they're both, they have a lot of similarities. They can shoot the basketball. They can pass the basketball. They have a good feel for the game. And so they plug right in. And obviously with David Jenkins out, those guys, had more opportunities to be able to play and just kind of show what they can do. But no, they both had a really good, first game.
Matt, Zach struggled a little bit around the basket, but they seemed to do a pretty good job passing. And obviously, from a defensive perspective, he obviously influenced the game. Can you kind of assess his play?
Yeah, I thought he played really well outside of, his inability to finish. He rebounded well. I thought his ball screen defense was really good. He blocked 6 shots. He changed a couple others. So all in all, it's good. He'll get that. He'll get that worked out. He hurries sometimes, like he did a couple times in the first half. He just has to collect himself. Use his shot fakes, use his freeze fakes at the rim, keep his angles, and then be aggressive. Like obviously he just missed the one dunk, but the other one's like, he's right there. He's right there at the rim, and I don't know what his foul's drawn. 5, which is a pretty low number for him. Like he normally draws more fouls than that. But for us, trying to get into the bonus as quick as possible has always been really beneficial. And so, and he creates a lot of those fouls.
What will the pressure that Milwaukee put on you for that experience? How's that going to help you here the next few weeks?
Well, I think every experience, but kind of playing a game and you don't have a lot of film for both teams and trying to figure it out. And obviously we have more film from the previous year in terms of stuff that we do and things that we run. But no, just, trying to handle their press and, handle their pressure and the most experiences. When you play teams that are different than you, I always think it's positive. Just because you have a different look, different system, different style, and now how do you adjust to that? Especially when you don't, you're not really scouting report specific without a lot of tape to watch.
I mean, you struggled shooting at the beginning. That straightened itself out. But the hustle that, like Trey, Braden, and some other guys getting on the floor,
Right.
How much of a staple does that need to be with this team?
Yeah, well, it's just contagious when guys play hard. Other guys, get on board with it, and that's what you want. You want to get guys in your program that have a passion for the game, that have that competitive spirit, and just play hard. And we're a better shooting team than we've shown so far. But I don't care who you are, you're going to have games like that. You just hope it's 20% of the time and not 80% of the time. But if you have the ability to rebound, that's at some point versus quality opponents. You're going to have to be able to steal points, whether that's in transition or on the glass. And I think we have the ability, if we can sprint into some quick threes or quick post-ups, to steal some points in that manner. But also just, and shots go up, it's an opportunity to score for those guys on our front line and just go after the ball. So we just got to stay with it in terms of playing hard and being competitive, but sprinting and rebounding are so important.
Matt, that just kind of preempted what I was going to ask you about. You always talk about stealing points, just the effort on the offensive glass.
Yeah.
And then being able to score a bunch of points off their turnovers. Just how would you kind of categorize this team's opportunisticness?
Yeah.
If that's a word, offensively.
It is a word. Just the effort. They know, at least I talk about it, you have to learn for young players, especially young players that come off the bench, they don't know how to maximize the minutes that they get. Like let's grab somebody here, make the most out of 17 minutes. Like we have 2 really good guys and Trey Kaufman-Wren and Caleb First, learn to just empty your tank when you go in there. Just empty your tank and play as hard as you can. Get on the glass, run the court, bring energy the whole time. And now you bring those other guys fresh, just like they were fresh when they initially sub in. So that's what you want. You want that tag team effort, to where those guys are now coming in. And then because you're going to play some people that are deep, and then you're going to play some people that really don't trust their backup bigs. We have a lot of good, big guys. And so that's what we just have to keep doing. But learn to, play harder. Like that's what I would really try to, we had a lot of individual plays where we played hard. But I bet you when we watch film, we can find some individual plays where we didn't. Like, you can always get better in that area. You can always keep pushing yourself. And that's what we have to do collectively.
Hey, Matt, you've got a lot of young guys. I noticed you teaching a lot more. I mean, these are young guys and your staff. What's it like to have so many young guys and be able to teach these guys and see them succeed?
Yeah. Well, you got to recruit guys that, have the capacity to be coached and want to be coached. I think that's first and foremost. You guys that, they're taking in what you're giving them. They understand that you're not going to give them something that's not going to help them. Basketball is not a hard game to figure out. But whatever you decide to do, and those are your staples, you got to stick to your rules. And if you get off those rules, now that's a negative surprise. Like, you don't want those negative surprises. And if you do that, you got to do a good job of communicating so we stay connected, especially from a defensive standpoint. But, they're fun to be around. Our staff has done a good job of recruiting. And I talked about it the other day. It's just like everyone uses the word talent. We've all seen talented people that aren't productive. You have to have productive people. You have to have productive players. Those things are so important. And just their understanding of the game. So having that high basketball IQ as a group, and growing with that, just like you're trying to grow, with having a high competitive spirit.
Did you want to get Cam in the game, or is there something more?
No, he's just going to wait. He's going to wait and see. We did it, I think, with one other guy. Yeah, with Aaron about 4 or 5 years ago. So he can kind of just see, the lay of the land in terms of the minutes and things like that, and he can make an educated decision. I always think it's good, if guys just aren't, 100% about it, just, pump the brakes a little bit, go through a couple games and then kind of see what it is. He's been really good in practice. He's very athletic, makes athletic plays. He's got a really good shot. I'm excited about his future, but I also want to, whatever he decides, we have to support. But I know he's going to be a good player.
Coach, you forced 21 turnovers tonight. Is there something about your team this season that you really can emphasize forcing turnovers?
Yeah, I think anytime you can, be able to force those turnovers and then, score points off of them, it's really going to help you, just like we discussed earlier. I don't know how many, like going back, like we were really talking about having active hands. I don't know how much of it was us or how much of it was them, right? And so, like, when we go back and watch tape, you can see that kind of like tennis with unforced errors. Were they forced errors or they unforced errors, and then kind of having that balance with that. We have to be good in team defense more than anything. We have to be able to have active hands and really protect the paint and try to keep the ball, out of there. I think there's going to be certain teams that we can probably pressure and be a little bit more aggressive, and there's certain teams where we can't, just because of matchups and certain things. We have a good balance from an offensive standpoint, in my opinion. But now certain matchups, we'll see as time goes on, kind of where we are in terms of how much pressure we put on the ball. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.